Greetings, honors precalculus students, to another day of our unit on polar coordinates. So this week is going to be a little bit different, as this week we will be looking at our first quiz since we've started this whole remote learning phase. So our first quiz, and this quiz is going to cover basically everything we've done so far with polar coordinates. I'll talk about a little bit more after we do a quick warm-up. So just hold on until then. So let's get to our warm-up first, our little bell ringer here, and then we'll get to more details about that quiz. All right. So two true or false questions. So the first one, if theta sub 1 is equal to theta sub 2 plus 2 pi n for some integer n, then r comma theta sub 1 and r comma theta sub 2 represent the same point on the polar coordinate system. So true or false? Do these two coordinates represent the same point on the polar coordinate system? All right. Well, let's see. So we're given 2 points here, and the r values are the same. All right, so they're both the same distance away from the center. Definitely need that. And then we're told that the angles, the difference between the angles that theta sub 2 is going to be, theta sub 1 is going to be equal to theta sub 2 plus some multiple of 2 pi. So some integer multiple of 2 pi. So for example, I just want to give you an example here. Let's say, for example, theta sub 2 was equal to, let's just say pi over 2. This problem is saying that theta sub 1 would be equal to pi over 2 plus 2 pi. For example, that would be, for example, it could be 2 pi times 2, could be 2 pi times 3, as long as it's an integer, right? That's what that n is telling us. Well, what do you guys think? Would it be true or false? Would it be the same point if the only difference between the two angles is that one is just an additional 2 pi, some multiple of 2 pi around the unit circle? Well, I hope you said it is true. It is true. Remember, people, we talk about this idea whenever finding additional coordinates that are in the same point on the polar system, is if we add or subtract 2 pi. So if we add or subtract 2 pi, okay, that means we're doing one full revolution around the unit circle. One full revolution around the unit circle. Or around a circle in general. Doesn't have to be a unit circle. But remember, if you do one full go around the circle, right, if that's your point, if you do one full revolution around the circle, you end up in the exact same spot. Okay, you end up in the exact same spot. And remember, just because you do it multiple times in this case, you would just do it more than one revolution around, but you would still end up at the same spot. So that's why these 2 points would be the same, because you're just going around and around in the circle, but you're always ending up in the same spot because you're always doing a full circle, since it's 2 pi. Since it's 2 pi, that's the key. Since you're going that 2 pi distance, you're going that full revolution around the circle and ending up in the exact same spot. All right, so that's why number 1 is true, and a little explanation as well. Number 2, true or false again. If the absolute values, that's what those vertical bars mean. If the absolute value of r sub 1 is equal to the absolute value of r sub 2, then r sub 1 comma theta and r sub 2 comma theta represent the same point on the polar coordinate system. Okay, so this time we can assume that the thetas are the same. So the angles are the same in this problem. The only thing that's different, potentially, is r sub 1 and r sub 2. So if r sub 1 and r sub 2 have this relationship, would these two coordinates represent the same point? Well, the easiest way typically to think of an example like this is, well, let's see. So if the absolute value of r sub 1 is equal to the absolute value of r sub 2. All right, so we can quickly think about, so let's say our r sub 1 is 3 and our r sub 2 is negative 3. Now, I hope you agree if we were to take the absolute value of both those numbers, the absolute value of 3 is going to be equal to the absolute value of negative 3, right? Remember, because absolute value just turns those negative numbers into positive. Okay, well, let's see if that's true. Let's make our angle. Let's make our angle for this problem. Make it easier. Let's make it 90 degrees. Make our angle 90 degrees. Well, let's see. Is 3 comma 90 degrees the same thing as 3 negative 3 comma 90 degrees? Well, I hope you believe it's false, because it is false. These would not be equal to each other. These would not be equal to each other, because if we just imagine where 3 comma 90 degrees would be, right? 90 degrees would be up here. 90 degrees would be up here. Now, negative 3 comma 90 degrees would be on the opposite side. It would be here. And the reason why is, yes, you would still be at 90 degrees, which would be basically on the top part of the y-axis. Since it's negative 3, you wouldn't be counting 1, 2, 3 units away from the center. You would be counting the opposite direction from the center, so 1, 2, 3 units. So our point would be right here. And as you can see, these are clearly not the same point on the polar coordinate system. So number 2, since number 2 is false, the easiest way to prove that it's false is just to use a simple example like I did. Like, is 3 comma 90 degrees the same thing as negative 3 comma 90 degrees? It is not. So hence, this would have to be false. Because in order for number 2 to be true, it would have to be true for all points. Number 1, on the other hand, was true, because no matter how many times I add or subtract 2 pi, I'm always going to end up in the same spot on our polar coordinate system. So that means it's going to work for every point. All right. So those were our 2 warm-up problems for today. Once again, there were more conceptual problems, not a lot of math behind them. It was just understanding how the polar coordinate system works. Okay, so let's talk about that quiz that I said that we're going to have. So right off the bat, like I said, it's going to cover everything that we've covered in this unit on polar coordinates. So it's going to cover being able to plot polar points. It's going to cover being able to convert between rectangular and polar points. And then finally, the last 2 lessons that we covered, being able to convert equations from polar to rectangular and vice versa. Okay? So those are the 3 main topics that are going to be covered. So I would definitely look back through the videos that we've done. It should be a total of 6 videos for this unit, not including this one. I will make sure to specify in Google Classroom exactly which videos you want to look at and exactly which notes to look at. Okay, so I'll make sure to specify that in Google Classroom. Okay, now in terms of how the quiz will work, right? Because obviously we're in a situation where giving the quiz is going to be a little bit interesting. Now, to make it a little bit more convenient on you guys, because obviously I don't want to put you guys into a position where, you know, I set a time for the quiz, and then some of you might not be able to show up, and then it gets very complicated trying to schedule individual time. So the way I'm gonna do it is starting on Monday. So starting in the beginning of the week, that will open up a window of 1 week. All right. So you'll be able to do the quiz over the course of the 1 week that we're in. So starting Monday all the way up till Sunday, you'll be able to do the quiz. So basically the instructions are as follows. If you want to do the quiz, you're going to have to set up a window of an hour for you to complete it, okay? So once again, the deadline is that you will have a week to complete the quiz, beginning Monday all the way up till Sunday. You'll have to let me know what time during the day and on which day, obviously, you would like to take the quiz, and I will email you the quiz. And you will have 1 hour to complete it, okay? That's why I want you to choose it, because I don't want there to be issues with, well, I started it, couldn't finish it. No, you have to make sure you choose a time that you have 1 hour free to complete the quiz. Now, it shouldn't take you an hour, honestly, to complete the quiz. I'm just giving you an hour just to give you guys a little bit of flexibility. So once again, from Monday till Sunday, you can choose any time. You just got to make sure you have an hour to complete it. You tell me when. I will send you the quiz, And then you will have to make sure to send me back the quiz within an hour after you received it. So that's why you got to make sure you have that 1 hour of free time so that you make sure you also have enough time to send it back to me. Once again, you have to send it back to me within an hour. If you don't send it back to me within an hour, there will be a penalty, okay? So if you want to get that credit, you have to send it back to me within that hour. Now, the quiz will count as extra credit. So this is the first time we would have, during this whole time that we've been doing remote learning, this quiz will count as extra credit. I will make sure to post all these details again on Google Classroom, including which videos to look at, which notes to look at, the whole setting up the quiz, so on and so forth. Now, I will be posting a study guide as well with the link to this video. So I will be putting a study guide, which is why, obviously if you feel ready already, you can take the quiz. Or if you want to work on a study guide, I will be posting the solutions to the study guide as I always do. If you want to work on the study guide first, then, check your answers. You can always ask me questions. So obviously I want you guys to make sure you feel comfortable before telling me, hey, I want to take the quiz on this day. So, ask me questions, work on the study guide, check your answers, so on and so forth. So that's basically what this week is going to look like. The study guide is not for credit. So the study guide is more for, and that's why I'm posting the solutions on it. So it won't be for credit. It will be more for you to just basically make sure, confirm that you know what you're doing so that you can take it whenever you feel comfortable. Okay? So once again, I will be posting all these details on Google Classroom as well. I just wanted to explain it on video. So our first quiz this week, and that's all that we're doing this week. Once again, I'm posting the study guide for our first class, and then technically our second class would be our quote-unquote quiz. But once again, anytime during the week, you can take the quiz. Okay. I hope that made sense, my instructions. If not, hopefully my written out description of it will make more sense. Otherwise, I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you guys are staying healthy. And I hope the rest of your day goes well. See you guys later.